Well, let's try this again. Let's see if this actually works. We keep getting a camera card error. Something's going on, which is actually it's strange. It's been doing that uh, off and on a little bit here, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Anyway, hopefully this is the take you're seeing because this is actually the third attempt to do this. So anyway, it is Saturday morning. Hopefully you caught last week's show. We got some really cool stuff here to talk about, and actually one of the comments did kind of direct this show in a sense. So we'll go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and read through the comments. First of all, the very very special thanks to Jeffrey Richardson for giving a little bit of a donation here to the channel and to what we do here, the cause and everything. I don't expect it at all, but I'm very grateful for that. That is really cool. That is twice in a row, the last two shows, that somebody has been so kind to donate their hard-earned cash to what we do here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and just yeah, that just always shocks me and surprises me. So thank you very much. All right, we have Bohemian Hunting Club says good deal and good morning. Crazy Scotsman says we have we few we happy few for he who sheds his blood with me today shall be my brother. Small following. No, my good sir, you have a family who sticks with you. I do appreciate that. We appreciate the knowledge and the views you bring to the table. Very, again, I can't tell you guys how grateful I am, to have the kind of following we do. Like I said, I'm coming up to 11 years of doing this. It has definitely been a journey. We've been doing this longer than, you could say most people even get into an endeavor or something like that for sure. So, and it's been a long ride. It's been a lot of good times. Like I said, this channel started off with me and my buddies, kind of goofing around with the camera and seeing, just get almost like spitballing stuff and just throwing things at the wall in a sense of like, taking your spaghetti and throwing it against the fridge and seeing if it sticks. Um, that's how you know, by the way, if it's cooked or not. At least that's what was taught to me. But anyhow, yeah, we had a lot of fun, especially with my good buddy Scott. Him and I, we came up with a lot of really cool stuff that we just, we filmed a lot of crazy stuff. We did a lot of awesome things. We always got together and was always like, hey, how do we do this and how do we put this together? Also, back in the day, I mean, we got really cool stuff from companies that would help us out a little bit. Not necessarily things were always free necessarily, but we did get like, a nice little price adjustment sometimes. I remember when we contacted Lone Wolf and we sampled one of their Alpha Wolf barrels. We did that. Big, huge thanks to Patrick out there at Badman Bullets. Badman Bullets was he's sponsored our channel for a while there, talking about, I shouldn't say sponsor. He would send us, bullets to basically load and shoot on the channel. Basically living on the island, that gave us, basically the stuff to use in the videos. So, but no, nobody ever paid us to say this is great, or nobody ever like said, hey, we're going to send you a check and just talk about how great we are. We never did that. We never did. Absolutely not. Like I said, I mean, I shouldn't even say that word sponsorship really, but was really very blessed to have people that donated to the cause in a sense. I could say that. So all right. Another one here from Jeffrey Richardson. Nothing is less expensive nowadays. Pick one and be happy. Words of wisdom right there. Definitely, try to pick something and be happy with it and be happy that you got it and you can enjoy it and do whatever it is with, be it whatever, whatever your hobby or something you're interested in. All right, this one's from Mystery Wheel Gunner. I have that same reloading book on your table. It is the one that got me into reloading. Yeah, it's a good book. I I got into it and wanted that book because it was shown to me by some really good friends of mine. Unfortunately, one of they were husband and wife that ran a really cool shop in town. Unfortunately, she recently passed away, which is really sad because I've been going in there for like, since I've been out here. Really good people. They were the ones who showed me that book. And what I liked about it was it had a lot of old school data in it, a lot of old school like recipes and stuff from powders and things. Because the fella that taught me reloading was an old school, fella himself. So I was taught by a really old school dude that showed me all the old school powders and stuff. So that's kind of where I learned, and that's what I learned, all the old stuff, So and then shooting a lot of cast lead and all that. So that's why I like that book. All right, this one here is from Love Dogs, and I do too. My mom, throughout the times I can remember, my mom, right now, currently, like again, back in the saddle, she has a rescue dog that she's got. And that dog is just such a sweetheart. I love that dog. That dog is funny, makes me laugh all the time. All right. So this one says, "Good morning. Where's our coffee?" I also preferred Troopers as they were in my value range. Yes. I'm very fortunate to own a Trooper Mark III. I really like it. And it's one of the more inexpensive ones, and that's why I actually got it, is because it was more inexpensive versus say like, it wasn't like $1,000. Of course, now I'm sure it is, but I'm glad to have been able to obtain it for much, much less than $1,000. All right. When I was younger, my first purchase was it was a gift for my dad in 1976. A blue 4-inch. I acquired a 6-inch Colton Guard, a 4-inch Colt Guard, and a 4-inch blued in 22. I can't say I know what that is, to be honest with you. Colt Guard. And then again, I definitely not versed in everything. Certainly don't pretend to be an expert of anything. I've had an anomaly 4-inch Python in the 70s. Had to sell it. Troopers versus Model 19s was the big debate in the 70s, early 80s. Both retrospect are excellent. Appreciate your work, sir. Well, I appreciate all that. I do. Trying to read here through. I also apologize, folks. It's getting harder for me to read the comments, to be honest. My mom says I need glasses, which is probably true. This one also comes from Love Dogs, excuse me, which is something we're going to cover. And it says, the question is also, how about a short video on your suggested channels, please? So I did. I scribbled down some channels that I actually would recommend, and I enjoy quite a bit. So we'll go through that. Mickey Mantle, good morning, y'all. As usual, great talk. 70,000 subscribers say you're a success. I appreciate that. We appreciate the talk. Definitely despise all the factory markings on firearms of collectability arms. Yeah, I get it. And I agree. I mean, if I was going to knock the new Pythons for anything, it would be definitely the placement of the serial number and that QR code. The QR code should have gone on the frame under the grips for sure. The serial number should go on the inside where the crane comes off of the frame, and it's right there. They've been doing that for years. Don't know why they changed it. I do agree. Putting it on the side of the frame like that, very, very, that's something I would expect to see from, not to knock or throw stones at these other revolvers, but that's something I would expect to see on one of those cheap imported revolvers from, the other countries and stuff like that. I'm a stickler about the warning stuff. I hate that. Warning, this is capable of firing it out of magazine. I'm a big stickler in that. I don't like that either. I think that's just that's something you put on a Red Ryder. All right. Don't mind markings on everyday carry arms. Paper and steel range day is 22 to 9/38 usually. Blessings, friends. Appreciate it. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. You got that right. For me too, on the rare occasion now that even if I decide to go to the range, which is pretty much very far in between, 22 9/38 definitely was always my kind of package deal to go through. Joe, good morning, Joe, and swig of coffee for Joe and all the working class stiffs, our 9 to 5ers, our paycheck to paycheck people. Good morning, JW. 90% of my handgun reloads are either bullseye or unique. Definitely. Stuff I was definitely introduced to from when I first started. I love bullseye for magnum loads or anything I want snappy and unique for everything else. Unfortunately, both are really hard to find these days. That is very true. And been saving the unique, to really picky on what I use it for. I got to admit that I had picked up some time back. I had picked up like 8 pounds of it for really cheap, and man, I had no idea it was going to turn. And I was just using it randomly to load like 9 millimeter, and I was just burning through it like it was nothing. And man, I would give anything to have taken that back, but it's okay. Slim Fire, what's up, Slim? All right, I commented this morning and just checked the video at 3:15 Eastern Standard Time to read some of the comments and notice my comment was eliminated. What is happening? Does anybody know? I don't know, Slim. That's just crazy. I know that we had some. I know that your comments actually for a while there wouldn't even be posted. No idea. I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. And I do apologize. Anybody within the family here that we're doing this and your comment wasn't read and you literally was commenting, I can tell you that either like the only way I would not read it is if we did the production here before, or basically you commented after we done the production. I can't reach in there and I can't pull a David Copperfield. I can't do it. But other than that, if your comment is just completely rude and obnoxious, we just don't need you. There's that too. But no, I mean, I will generally, but getting pulled or whatever, please let me know if you've been commenting and your comment was not read and you actually caught the show early and you're commenting within the first day out or something of the show, and that keep that in mind, folks. We we work on production of the show like within days of the first one of the publishing of the show when it airs. So when you're seeing it air, I mean, we are already working on the show. So keep that in mind when you're doing your comments. So get the show. Early bird gets the show, right? Get your comment in there. So Bohemian Hunting Club is added to that. He says, I've been seeing the same. I've even seen my own replies on other comments on other vids being removed. So I don't know. That is, that's crazy stuff. So anyhow, I wish I knew. I really do. So anyway, and again, thank you for all your donations to the channel. Man, that is so cool. It is not necessarily, we don't require you to do it for sure. But it is, I can't explain or express how much it's appreciated, man. That means a lot to me. So, all right. Love Dogs asked about some channels I would recommend. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm gonna headline this with something here. Obviously, since I've started the channel, I've made a lot of friends. The people we call brothers and families and sisters alike. And there we are, and we're all together here. And they have a lot of them have channels themselves. And a lot of you are commenting there. A lot of you watch, maybe not necessarily always comment. I've not forgotten you. I may not be able to watch everybody's content anymore, but I have not forgotten you. There's a lot of you, unfortunately, that back when I first started are no longer around. And I could sit here and list all of these people, and we would be here till Sunday and talk about every single one of their channels. And again, we'd be here till the following Sunday because there's so many great things to say about them. There's so many great people out there that have channels that have done things and really cool stuff and awesome things that really cool people I've met over the years. We've exchanged even numbers, email, whatever. And, so that kind of thing. I really do miss the back in the early days of doing this. We used to have an option to private message, and that made it a lot easier to do things like giveaways, exchange information to like just simply, I remember I used to do some giveaways where just simply like a target. that we shot on the range, and we would send those out to people. Something simple that I could throw in an envelope. It's not that I, for instance, it's not like I don't want to do a giveaway kind of deal because I love giving back, but it is so extremely hard, especially with my time schedule and constraints. I mean, I'm pretty much stuck at work all the time, that it's hard to get there to the post office to mail something out. Plus, it is difficult to exchange information. To me, and I don't take mailing addresses and exchange like that kind of stuff and phone numbers lightly. That's still private information, and so it's hard to kind of go about that anyway. So, but there, that's that. So anyhow, so the list of things I compiled again. It's no disrespect to, or I'm not saying that I don't want to mention, all my friends and family, that we've met over the years here doing that. Like I said, I mean, we'd be here 2 weeks talking about everybody and all the great things that they are and do and videos and stuff like that. This is stuff that I would say that people I don't know personally for sure, never really had communications with them, but I do enjoy their content. And I've got a little bit of something to say about each one. So we're going to go ahead and roll through. All right, no particular order. Not like saying I like this one over this one better or not. I'm not going to do the best 5 or best 10 or anything like that. I just literally took some notes and just said, these are the ones that I can think of. First one here is Ariscope. Ariscope is director Adam Green. Adam Green has directed the Hatchet movies. Hatchet movies was kind of Kane Hodder's next big beast, if you will. Kane Hodder, if you don't know who Kane Hodder is, to many of us horror hounds and horror fans, he's Jason. He's Jason Voorhees. Why? Because he played Jason more times than any other actor that's portrayed him. And I think he also gave Jason that persona. He did a lot for the character. And Kane is just so cool. That's one guy that I have yet to meet at a convention that I can't wait to do. So I just meeting Kane would be just I've got his books, I've got his documentaries and stuff like that. So, but anyway, Adam Green at Ariscope, that's his channel, that's his going. One of the really cool things that he did on his channel that I really like is called My Scary Sleepover, where he basically put together this little thing with a lot of famous horror actors and stuff and actresses. The girl from Sleepaway Camp, I can't remember her name at the moment. The late Tony Todd, man. Tony Todd that just passed away, and I feel like these guys are getting older, and I'm not going to get a chance to meet them. So there's that. He obviously did Kane Hodder and whatnot, and Sid Haig. Sid, a lot of people know Sid Haig from his work with Rob Zombie's films, but I actually remember him from a lot of the exploitation films from the 70s. So anyway, that's Ariscope. The other dude, if you will, is Cool Duder, Chauncey Phillips. That guy just reminds me of a fan that kind of somewhat made it, to be honest. Really cool guy. He does a lot of, looks into a lot of new releasings on Blu-ray, DVD. It's kind of how I know about what's coming up. Really, I mean, I love this thing he does. It's a Tuesday video shopping, and he goes around and finds all the physical media out there. Kind of shows you a little bit what's going on. You can definitely tell he's a horror guy. Really likes the horror stuff. What I really like too is his journey to weight loss. He was a very heavy guy, and somehow he lost all that weight. He did it. More power to him, and he kept it off. I mean, for 10 years. So, and he's still going. I mean, that's some dedication. It's a really cool, story that he did there. But yeah, Cool Duder is another one that I just think is awesome. He's been making movies himself, which I am very envious of. Made movies, got his own movies out there. You can actually go and purchase them from Amazon, etc. So that's really awesome. Next one up is George Goal, or I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Why that channel is means a lot to me, and that's his last name. It's George, and his last name is spelled Goehl. So, unfortunately, George passed away. But why I liked his channel was all about soldering and using copper and flux and soldering, and he was making a lot of artwork stuff like flowers and whatnot. And honestly, the reason I started watching his channel was because I was trying to learn how to make Freddy Krueger gloves out of copper and steel and learn how to solder it and everything. And his channel taught me how to anneal and mess with copper and do all that kind of stuff. So still, I mean, one of the cool things. I actually enjoy going back and watching his channel, even though he's gone. But there's something about the way he comes across, his narration in the videos. He's got a really somber voice. Yeah, he just, I don't know. He explains things very well, which is not an easy thing to do. All right. Next one up is Minty Comedic Arts. Minty is, I believe, I hope I'm getting this right. I believe he's in Australia. Minty's cool. He does a lot of really cool videos, like things that you may have not have known about a movie or whatnot. Even though I probably am like, hey, I probably know all this stuff, but I'll still check out the video and check it out. So he's good. He definitely has a good delivery of it. Not boring. You don't want to turn it off. He keeps you pretty much intrigued and everything. He's got a really cool bunch of stuff in the background that you can see a lot of. So I don't know if he's like the same age as me because he does have a lot of stuff from the 80s. All right. The other one here would be definitely one of my favorites. I'm going to just definitely put that one out there. He is definitely one of my favorites. And that is Pizwell. And that is spelled Pizowell, Pizwell. And that guy's cool. All he does is horror. And he's got his brother Jeremy. Jeremy is awesome. Jeremy's so funny. Together they do things like some of my favorites is they'll do things like they'll go to the dollar store and buy a bunch of Halloween candy stuff, theme stuff, and do a little taste test. That and different types of Mountain Dew drinks and whatnot coming out. Jeremy's reactions to that stuff is hilarious. Bizao loves horror. I mean, you can tell just by watching the background of his stuff. A lot of cool. I'm really envious of a lot of the Michael Myers masks that he's got and everything. He's got some really cool stuff, some really rare stuff. And he shows this stuff off and, does a lot of unbagging, unboxing videos, which I really enjoy because you get to kind of see his reaction to it too. You can, somewhat live vicariously through him buying some of these, masks and stuff from Trick or Treat Studios or whatnot. So, Pizal is definitely one of my favorites. The other one here is Ramen Noodle Budgets. Ramen Noodle Budgets is really cool. I kind of stumbled across his stuff on accident. What I liked was he shows the repainting and doing things to the hockey masks of Friday the 13th. And really, what I liked about it was he's showing you how to do this. And he's not, he's not doing anything that you and I couldn't attempt to do. Granted that, he just throws it out there and just does it and sees how it turns out. So it's really cool. I mean, I really actually enjoy that. I mean, it's neat because it's like, it's not like you're watching. I don't feel like I'm watching a Hollywood professional makeup artist saying, well, it's really easy. You just kind of do this right here and you get this stuff and this stuff that, don't mind the fact that this costs us like, $5,000 in materials to do. No, I mean, this guy's literally going out probably to your local Hobby Lobby, picking up stuff, or to the local Trick or Treat, Spirit, Halloween, whatever, and picked up this stuff and a paintbrush, and he's showing you that he did it. And so if you have an artistic view that you could do it, you might be able to accomplish it. So next one up here, definitely I put him up there with Pizal. And that's Sean Clark. Sean Clark does the Horrors Hollow Ground, which I absolutely am a junkie for. He goes to all these locations and shows you where the movies were filmed, what scenes were done there and whatnot. He recently did my all-time favorite, Phantasm, and he explains the reason why it took him so long to do it and everything was there was so many different locations that were shot for that film. Just to roll in, say, one sequence of, a scene or so, they probably use 3 different locations, which I didn't even know. So, but he does. He puts in a lot of effort and goes in there and really does it. He's another one that reminds me of, man, he's a fan that made it. he's up there. I'm super jealous that he got to meet all these wonderful icons of horror and stuff like that. Hung out with them, got personal stuff from him. His collection of memorabilia is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, any one of us horror fans would love to even just have a fraction of what he's got. And he's got like actual screen use stuff that is just, oh, that's so cool. But anyway, yeah. But then also a lot of his stuff, his work of Horror's Hollow Ground, can actually be featured in some of the Scream Factory's releasing Blu-rays and special features in there. So most one that comes to my mind right away is a lot of the Halloween films, the part 4, 3, and 5, and all that. So and those, and actually, I joined in one time on one of his his live shows, and I actually commented in there, how many people are on the bus? And that was one of his takes from the late great Donald Pleasance from Halloween 4, where the ambulance was in the wash, and obviously Michael has escaped and laid waste everybody there. But he did such a good impression of it, and I typed that in the live feed, and he actually said it. And I thought that was really cool. He acknowledged that. A couple last ones are just some fun channels that I check out. Mind TV, because I do have a thing about paranormal investigations. My friend Don back in the island, we used to do that. We were called it was actually his deal. I was just very privileged to be able to be a part of it, called the Hunters, which we did a couple of locations, I think 2 or 3 locations. It was really, really fun to go do that for real. And man, he went all out and he got all this stuff. So Mind TV does a lot of that. Take it for what it's worth. It's entertainment. Do whatever last one on my list would be Hercules Candy out of Syracuse, New York. I just find it cool watching candy being made from scratch like it was back in the old country, as as Steve would say on that channel. Kind of the humor in it's there, but if you find his humor funny, I think you'll enjoy it. So before I head on out, I actually wanted to kind of run through some stuff for me here. Some of the cool stuff that I own, I guess you could say, a little dusty here. My gosh, this set, Phantasm, is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I think it's almost safe to say Phantasm is probably the original. Phantasm is such a hard one to beat, because it is just it's not so much of this, it's frightening, but it does tap into something I do find freaky and always kind of got weirded out by it, which is dealing with a lot of mortuaries, mausoleums, and that kind of thing. The inevitable thing that but it's one of the cooler films, and I like how the director literally made this movie on a shoestring budget. They weren't professionals, so they just had friends get together and do it, which shows and comes off on the camera. Reggie Bannister, which unfortunately Reggie is, last we heard, he's actually in hospice care, the actor. Really wholesome guy. Never met him. Wish I would have been able to. But Phantasm in there. This box set, I remember when it came out. Phantasm has been one of those movies that is, man, I tell you, it just, the minute you think it's available, it goes out of print. I mean, these things have come in and out of print so many times, it is hard to keep track of it. I heard that when I heard this box set was coming out, the Blu-ray box set of the Phantasm, movies, 1 through 5. I always remembered 1 through 3 from the VHS days, and that's the ones I remember renting from a grocery store of all things, back when literally these things were available in everywhere. Everybody had videotapes to rent, and the best ones literally a lot of times were grocery stores, motels, mom and pop rental stores. Always had the best cool whacked out stuff. We had some in our town, Dr. Video Show Place. Those 2 places were crazy, and for whatever reason, like I said, the grocery store had the most badass collection of horror tapes I never ever remember seeing. So anyway, this set came out, And I remember when it came out, this is the set I saw at Best Buy for $60, and I picked it up and bought it. Literally overnight, the thing just went gone. It was just like all of a sudden they were being sold as scalping prices, still is. So it comes and goes. Now, I had the rare opportunity and blessings to meet Don Coscarelli. I bought the book. He signed the book for me. And it's so awesome because he says, "Keep your balls in the air," which is the line from Phantasm 3. I'm going to tell you right now, when I met Don Coscarelli, that guy couldn't have been more awesome. Couldn't have been more down to earth. Sat there, spent time with us, talking to us, took photos with us, signed stuff. I even got the Phantasm poster that he signed to me. What a cool guy. I can't speak highly enough about Don Coscarelli. Just awesome. It was like for once you meet like one of these guys. He's just so thrilled that the fan base exists, that we're all there, and we still embrace his movie. And, so that's what was really neat about that. Next one up, Evil Dead. Yes, Evil Dead. I had to throw this one in there because you know what? I remember renting this on videotape. Had no idea what the heck it was. Rented on videotape, watched it, and just sat there and was like appalled. I just couldn't believe what I saw. This movie is just wacky. If you've not seen this has got it all. I mean, this has just got it all. There's some stuff I can't even mention. But anyway, this is a really cool set. Saw this in this store, and of course at the record store, and of course I actually got to meet Bruce Campbell, the man himself. Stood in line at the bookstore when they were doing this. I still got my wristband, but yeah, stood in line to meet the man himself, and he obviously signed my book. His signature is quite interesting. But I did. I waited in line just to meet him and have him sign my book. And so and it's weird. It's because that is literally his signature. Because there's a copy of it right there in the book. But to be able to meet him and check it out again, cool guy. Pretty down to earth. Wasn't all about that and himself and everything like that. And it has been known that most of these people in the horror biz, they're probably some of the nicest people you could meet, and that is very true. Last, before we get out of here, another really an idol of mine that I got to meet. That was really, really fortunate and lucky. This night was something I'll always remember, and it's the night I got to go meet Henry Rollins. Meeting Henry Rollins for me was really one of the major moments that I was starstruck. And get to go back, basically hang out with him after the show and take a photo with him. That was just awesome. So anyhow, that's my little set of collection here, and some movie or memorabilia, horror memorabilia, if you will, that of people I got to go meet and actually got stuff signed from them that was not at a convention. That was just I was just lucky to be there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this week's show. Please like and share and subscribe and everything, and we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend.